Hey, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we are going to be talking about an interesting character, and that is Loki Laufeyson, aka Loki Odinson. Specifically, I want to talk more about the conversation that he has with Mobius in the little conference room that they have, and the revelation that we find about Loki as a character. Specifically, he says a line that I found very intriguing and one that puts an extra dimension to a character that we've already seen for probably close to a decade, maybe longer at this point. I don't remember exactly when the first Thor film was, but yeah, it's been probably around 10 plus years now since we've seen this character, and despite the fact that we have seen him develop so much, this version of him that we see is much earlier on in his development, and yet we're able to see a side that we haven't really noticed in the past. So Loki says specifically, because it's part of the illusion, it's the cruel, elaborate trick conjured by the weak to inspire fear. And then Mobius says something, he also says, a desperate play for control, you know yourself. Loki says, a villain. Mobius says, that's not how I see it. That moment is, for me, what makes this episode so great. And that's because it gives us an insight as to something that we probably always had a hint of and understood on some level, but this moment really shows it from Loki's perspective to show that he's pretty he has a self-awareness to him in understanding exactly where he is and what he has to do in order to feel strong. And that is that he feels extremely inferior to those around him. I mean, looking back, he grew up on Asgard feeling odd and different because he wasn't Asgardian. He's not Asgardian, but he's a frost giant. He wasn't raised by either tribe to be his true self. He is an outsider. He always was. And in the eyes of, well, himself, he wasn't a warrior. And that was never his strength. But with Asgardians, that seemed to be the pinnacle of where he could really be as a warrior. I mean, Odin is a warrior. Thor, his brother, is a warrior. Even all of his friends, the people that you see in the first Thor film, they're all people capable of defending themselves in fights. And not that Loki can't. He's an adept fighter with knives. It's just that's not his actual specialty. And really anyone can physically overpower him. A lot of Asgardians can physically overpower him. And that's resulted in this idea of inferiority with this character in that he feels himself not to be unworthy. And I think this is further solidified by the mere existence of Thor's hammer. I think these two key components come together to create the character that we know as Loki. We have this hammer that Odin provides to Thor, and though we don't really know exactly the circumstances that make this come about, even before the enchantment, it seems like it's Thor's hammer. And maybe only afterwards the enchantment was placed there by Odin when Thor is cast out. But even then, Loki is not capable of holding it. It's very interesting because there are moments where he sees Thor as his rival, but also as someone that he could never be. And that's why he perceives himself as weak. The other side to this, though, is you have the fact that he's a frost giant. The only instance in which we see Loki actually show himself to be a frost giant is when he touches the casket of ancient winters. And this is the only time that his skin turns blue. I believe his eyes also turn red like they should probably be. And in that moment, he once again feels inferior to those around him because now he's not only weaker than everyone else, but he's also a monster. That being said, from my perspective and my understanding, Loki shouldn't feel inferior because just like his brother, he's the rightful heir to a realm. Just like his brother, he's a very capable combatant, a capable enemy for anyone. And on top of that, there is much more innate potential beyond his magical prowess, which honestly, Thor's abilities in a lot of ways come from his genetic predisposition. Similarly, Loki should have something to that same effect, though through thousands of years, I think probably around 2,000 years or something like that, of him not knowing and never developing his innate capabilities, he is also inadequate as a frost giant. That being said, he's already a very formidable combatant, and he's very self-made in the sense that his abilities in magic are very, very capable. Even on Asgard, I mean, he is a very capable magician, a very capable sorcerer. The only instance that we really see him face a stronger opponent in the sense of magic would be in Doctor Strange, and or as through Doctor Strange, and he's the most powerful sorcerer on Earth. So we really can't say that Loki is a terrible magician. We just know that his specialty is in illusions. So this idea that he is truly weak is something that I think is a result of the delusion that he has of inferiority. He doesn't seem to understand the things that he is truly capable of, and I think that that is going to be the journey for the Loki series, where he's actually going to see an instance of himself that is more capable than potentially anyone or anything that he has ever seen, because there's a version of himself that exists that is competing against seemingly the most powerful force in existence. I think that the Loki series is going to be a way for this character to grow beyond the shadow of his family and grow beyond who he currently thinks himself to be. And I think it's going to be an amazing ride. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on this first episode of Loki. I know I was very specific to this one topic and I didn't really fully talk about the episode, but honestly, this was just something that I really, really wanted to talk about, and I think it was an interesting conversation to have. Let me know your thoughts about what I said in this video. Do you agree? Do you really think that Loki is weak? Or do you think that's just a preconceived notion that he's developed through both his lineage and the discovery of that, alongside the way that he was raised on Asgard? And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please let me know. I am really excited to come back to YouTube after a pretty decently long hiatus. And yeah, if you want to see more from me, please subscribe and like the video. Catch you in the next one. Bye.